When it comes to the language requirements, to be eligible for express entry, you must prove your English and French language ability, take an approved language test, and get the minimum results required by your program. You need to include the results when you complete your express entry profile. The language test evaluates these abilities: writing, reading, listening, and speaking. To measure your English or French levels, we use the Canadian Language Benchmark CLB for English, Niveau de compétence linguistique canadien, and CLC for French. Federal Skilled Worker Program. For this Federal Skilled Worker Program, first official language, English or French, and second official language, minimum level of CLB or NCLC 5. Language minimum level for all four abilities for the first language will be for English CLB 7, for French NCLC 7. For the Canadian Experience class, for NOC skill type of level, minimum level of all languages ability English and minimum level of all languages abilities French. For NOC 0 or A, the minimum level of 4 language abilities in English is a CLB 7, and the minimum level for all language abilities in French will be NCLC 7. For NOC B, the minimum level of 4 language abilities in English will be CLB 5, and the minimum level for all language ability for French will be NCLC 5. Federal Skilled Trades Program. We have this chart with language abilities at minimum level. For English, for the abilities of speaking and listening, the minimum level required will be at CLB 5. For English, for abilities reading and writing, the minimum level will be CLB 4. For French, ability of speaking and listening will be NCLC 5. And for French, the abilities of reading and writing, the minimum level will be a NCLC 4. How long language test results are valid for? Your test results must be at least 2 years old when you submit your application for permanent residence. If you haven't been invited to apply for permanent residence, you may want to make sure your results are valid for the rest of the time you'll be in the pool. If your results will expire before you can apply, you should be tested again or apply before your test results expire, or decline the invitation and go back into the pool to be considered in the future. If you apply for permanent residence with language test results that have expired, CIC will refuse your application. You can use your test results to find your CLB level. Language testing. You must prove your language skills by taking an approved language test. To do this, you must schedule your test with an agency approved by IRCC and pay the cost. Enter the test results in your express entry profile and the personal information number if the system asks it for. Include the results of your application if you are invited to apply. If you don't include it, CIC will not process your application. Don't ask for your language test results to be sent directly to CIC. Send CIC your result with your complete application. Keep your original test in a safe place, as CIC may ask for it later. Language test CIC accept. You can take any of these approved language tests. For English, the CERPIP, Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program. You must take the CERPIP General Test. CIC don't accept the General LS test for the express entry. IELTS, International English Language Testing System. You must take the General Training option. CIC don't accept the academic option for express entry. For French, the TEF, Test d'évaluation du français, including comprehension de l'écrit, comprehension de l'oral, expression écrite, expression orale. What happened next? See what language levels you have based on your test results in Canadian Language Benchmark, CLB, Niveau de compétence linguistique canadien, NCLC. CLC will use test results as proof of your language skills. Your test result must be valid, less than 2 years old, when you complete your Express Entry profile, apply for permanent residence. The Express Entry profile is valid for 12 months. Make sure that your language test results are valid for the same period. Your test results expire soon. If your test results expire soon, then you should retake the test and update your Express Entry profile with your new test results. Once you get your result for your language test, you can go to the Government of Canada website and the tool called Language Test Equivalency Charts, and you can compare your results based on these charts here. As you can see here, when we navigate, we can see the equivalent for the CERPIP test from CLB level 10 till 4, and for each of one of the 4 abilities: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. If we continue down, just give you the equivalents for reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So it's an interesting tool for you to compare for the CERPIP test. When it comes to the IELTS, we can also find the chart of the test score equivalency chart just below. And again, it's the same. You have in this section where it calls the CLV level with reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And then if you continue down, you will find also the equivalence of the TEF test. So if you're reading and you got something between 263 to 277, you will know that you will in the CLV 10 level. You have 2 parts of the chart: the equivalences before April 2014 and the equivalency after April 2014. And that apply for the TEF. So whenever you get the result, just follow the link provided in our lecture in the resource